Hello everybody, Josh Shernoff here for Premier Streaming Network, and I am joined now by Shayna Baszler. Shayna, we're here, SummerSlam. You have probably the biggest match of your career in the WWE, maybe career in general, against Ronda Rousey in MMA rules. One of the questions I want to ask you about, we've seen the Lion's Den stuff before. Any idea how this is going to differ from a regular pro wrestling match?
So I can only surmise. This has been the question of the day, right? What does MMA rules mean in WWE? So back in the day, before the unified rules, and for anyone that doesn't know, unified rules is the Las Vegas MMA rule set. That's the rule set that UFC follows, and any organization kind of follows those rules now. Before that, there wasn't a unified set of rules. So you would show up to an event and it would be like, hey, you want to do soccer kicks to the head? You want to do elbows? Are you cool with that? Cool. Handshake. And that was kind of the rule set. So this sort of unknown is familiar to me. And this unknown thing is prior to Ronda Rousey in MMA. So it's not something that she's used to. I'm going to guess general things like no pinfall, it's going to be submission or 10 count. There will be probably no fighting on the outside. Maybe no rope breaks, just stuff like that where it's going to look different for sure from anything else you see on the card. But at the same time, it might not look like what your idea of MMA is, just because your idea of MMA is unified rules. And I don't know that it's going to be that. We'll find out.
That's really interesting. So I heard you talking before about how Ronda Rousey, a lot of people look at you as Ronda's friend, right? Like you followed her into wrestling, which is absolutely false. You were doing this long before she was.
Yeah.
But you also have a great MMA career. You had to transition from mixed martial arts into pro wrestling. Obviously, you brought some of that style with you. What for you, going back now to an MMA rules, is it challenging? How do you prepare for something like that, since you've had to shift that mindset, and you've done so well shifting that all towards pro wrestling, to now kind of shift back and have that? Because, and I might be wrong here, but I think Ronda was competing in MMA more recently than you have. Is that correct?
She competed more recently, yes. But I have more experience.
Okay.
I was fighting 10 years before her. But I think that the big difference I've had to change is, first of all, the pacing is going to be completely different. There's a pace, and you'll know it if you watch the two sports. There's a completely different pace in a fight than in a wrestling match. But really, it's been a mindset thing, because in a fight, you have to go in knowing, win or lose, you're probably going to get messed up. And I think just accepting that is a big shift. And then kind of changing a mindset to where I know Ronda isn't easily breakable. And I'm talking about mentally. And so it's trying to get myself to a place where there's, I'm going to last longer than her. My breaking point is not going to happen before her. And just getting to that place. And it's a difficult place. She's an Olympian, one of the greatest fighters to ever live. So it's been more about a mindset shift than anything.
Interesting. So at Premier Streaming Network, one thing that we celebrate is history of pro wrestling. We have huge curated libraries. We talked about how you were on the indies, you worked your way up in professional wrestling. Who did you grow up watching, idolizing, emulating? Was there anyone in particular?
Man, there's a few. So, it's hard to argue with the shooters, right? So it's funny because Ken Shamrock is why I got into MMA.
Really?
And so watching Shamrock in the WWE and pro wrestling, there's been the technical guys, Dean Malenko, Joe Malenko. There's a name for people.
Yeah.
When I started really realizing the shared history that MMA and pro wrestling have, I started really getting into the Japanese side. So there's a lot of those All Japan women that I don't even look. Go watch All Japan Women. Go watch Gaia Girls, and you'll see a lot of where the stuff I get comes from.
Awesome. Well, hey, listen, good luck tomorrow night. Really rooting for you there. I'm excited to see MMA rules, what that's going to be. We're all excited. We're going to find out, but best of luck. Thank you so much for taking the time.